Good morning and welcome to another episode of Garden to Table with Rose, and I am Rose. It is Sunday, June 2nd, and I am outside in the misty rain. It's about 8:30, and I am going to do a front garden tour while I have a few moments free. And also, I am finally finished with the front yard. At least everything I'm going to do this season, finally. So I'm very excited about that. So let me back up a little bit. I'll do it this way. And excuse my lawn waste bags. Those are always sitting around because I have to take my lawn waste to the local transfer station. But I'm standing on my front porch, basically. You've seen before, and my car is in the way today. Sorry about that, but the other side of the drive is blocked with the mulch, and so I had to move the garbage cans, which means the car is stuck outside until the rest of the mulch is taken to the backyard. But let me go this way. So let's start with these pots that I have struggled with on the front porch. Okay, so the Dusty Miller seems to like the pots. Of course, there was a few petunias that were doing okay in here. I don't know about this thing in the middle, and I'm contemplating taking it out. I mean, it does have some new growth, but those outside leaves look horrible. This is from Proven Winners. What is it called? Pulmonaria. Spot on Pulmonaria, and it is a part shade plant, and so I put it in this pot hoping it would do well, but I don't know if it starts to look any more sickly. I'm going to take it out and put it in the ground because those were fairly pricey, and I don't want those to die off too. I've had so many things die off me. But the Dusty Miller's loving it. These are full shade, and I think that is the issue. It's not the soil, because that's new potting mix. Just everything dies in those. Anywho, the spirea, they're finally flowering. Look at that. They are huge. I'm telling you, these videos, you can't get a gauge of size, but they're about 3 to 4 feet wide. And I usually would cut them back all the way to the ground, like, once or twice, because I didn't like them when I first got my house many years ago. But since I started gardening, I like them. I love them. One of the reasons why I didn't like them, though, is because bees and wasps swarm these things when they're flowering, and so I couldn't, access my house from the front. Without running through, a whole maze of stuff. But I've learned to coexist for the most part with the bees and wasps. So, my little whipcord shrub is getting bigger, so I'm happy about that. This is the only thing of this texture that I have. I really like that. I would like something similar in the landscape. So maybe at some point, if that gets too big for the pot or something, maybe I'll put it in the ground. But yeah, topiary is doing okay. I have not trimmed my topiaries. I have 2 of them. This one and another ball one, like a 3-ball. And I have not pruned those this season. I was kind of letting them flush out because they did have some dry, crispy brown spots on them because they're in pots, and I left the pots up here in the front. I just kind of huddled them together in this area, and they survived. And the reason why is because before I was taking them all the way to the backyard and putting them in this little protected cove on the side of my shed, and that was a lot of work because they're very heavy. And I literally would have to lift every pot, and I have, as you can see, I got quite a few pots. So I said, oh no, that's not gonna work for my back, so I left it. But yeah, so that's doing okay. My window boxes, since we're on this side of the house, I'll keep going this way. My window boxes are pretty. Let's just hope things don't die off that are in here. Because again, everything I put in these window boxes tends to die off. But I put some geraniums. If you watch my video on the trip to the garden center, this is the stuff I bought there. I got some yellow geraniums and a bunch of coleus, and that's all in there. This is something I planted from seed. Not sure what, but it is one or the only thing that came up that I planted from seed. But the other one is the same. It's the same. Things are nice and perky this morning because it rained all yesterday. So let's hope those get bigger. That'll be really pretty. I like the color combination, the yellows and purples and chartreusey kind of green against the white of the house. It pops a bit. And here is my PG hydrangea tree that was just one little stick when I planted it. Well, I don't think it even had any leaves, but look at it. It's getting bigger and bigger. I got it propped up here because I'm trying to train it into a tree form. And then there's a second one over there as well that I'm trying to train into a tree form right there. These bushes I dislike immensely. I don't know what it's called. I always call it a burning bush, but I don't actually know what it is. It was here when I got the house. There's one on each corner of the house, and they turn a bright red in the fall, the leaves. And they're just woody and old, and they get huge. And I literally just come in and chop them like 2 feet from the ground. Actually chop them. I have to use a chainsaw, but I can't get them out because they are so big and so old that I would need like chains and a truck and a whole thing to get them out of the ground. So I just keep cutting them down, and they keep growing back. But as long as they stay short like that, they don't bother me as much as when they get huge. I mean, they can get bigger than me. Okay, so I've mulched everything that I'm gonna mulch this season and cut things back. I cut my forsythia back because it was kind of in my little walkway here, and so that's been cut back. Anything that was protruding, including this red twig dogwood, has been cut back. These mums from last year are growing and they're getting bigger, which I'm happy about. I didn't know how many of them would come back because the mums I bought are cutting mums and they're supposed to be annuals, but they all seem to have come back. I have a whole nother row along the driveway. These are new mums, new cutting mums that I just recently purchased some cuttings from I think it was Farmer Bailey, his online website. And then over there I got tomatillos, and they're getting big, and they love it up here for some reason. And then behind the tomatillos are cosmos, but I'm gonna go over there in a second. This is my little new raised bed that I am trying to compost what's in there. That's why it's covered. It will stay covered until next spring. It won't be ready to plant. This area, I told you I was going to dig out the grass. I did not do that because I started and it was a lot of work. So I did dig out the grass between the pavers, and you know, a lot of work. I've been doing a lot of work, but I'm getting to the end of my energy box for the season of projects. So I was like, no way. So what I did instead, I covered this with a bunch of cardboard and then layers and layers of mulch on top of there, and I'm going to let that all decompose for the next year right along with that raised bed, and then this whole thing I can plant up next year. The mock orange is done flowering, of course. It was beautiful. I really do like this. It gets huge though if you put it in the ground, like ginormous, so that's why it's going to stay in this pot. But around it, because it's not going to have any more color, I did have some extra of the geraniums and the coleus that I planted all around it, which is really pretty, especially if it gets big. And then I figured the branches would give it some shade. So let me go around this way. This little ball arborvitae, as I said, I call everything that's in evergreenish evergreen and arborvitae, even if that's not what it's called. But this is a ball-shaped one, and it's flushed itself out. It had some browning too from the winter. It's in a pot, and it's a big fluffy ball. I love it, love it. I like evergreens as long as they don't get humongous. This 9 bark is beautiful. It's getting nice and tall, and it was just so tiny. It was a little pot when I got it, and actually at the start of this season, it was only about a foot tall. So it's grown that much this season. Um, this lamb's ear grows so fast here, so rapidly and reliably, and I love it for that. But already, as you can see, this one's getting so big that I need to divide it, and I divided all of these last year and moved some around, but it's getting big. So at the end of the season, I'll probably divide this one and move some over to that new section that I just dug out. The alliums, as you can see, are all done. And the ones in the front, I don't really cut those. These are just for display. So I usually just leave the seed heads there until I cut everything down in the fall. This is a hydrangea. This is called a moon rock, and I have 3 of those. I believe 3. I had a 3-pack that I got from, I think the company is called Blooming Easy, and I love that hydrangea. The stems are so sturdy. Yeah, just the stems are so sturdy. You don't, I mean, this one's tiny, so I do have a couple of supports just to kind of keep it from flopping over. But I found that once it gets pretty tall, the stems are super sturdy, and you don't really have to do a whole lot of staking and supporting of it. So I like that. I got a little sedum in here that's growing. I love that. I love that variegated color again. With that yellow chartreusey green. Give me anything with that in it, I'll take it. There's dying foliage here from alliums and whatever other spring bulbs I had over here, which eventually I'll get out when it's all brown. These are all lilies, white lilies, these big tall stocky things, and as you can see, they're all budded up. So they'll be flowering soon. My apple trees have apples. I am so excited. Look at that. There are several apples. I thought about thinning them, but they're not. I will have to see. I wanted to thin them, but then I'm so concerned the bugs will get to them that if I thin them, then I'll have nothing again. So I've been hesitant, but I'll make a decision about that at some point. I may take some of those tinier ones off to give the other ones, the energy to get bigger before before they're ready to be harvested. And this one just kind of has apples at the top. This one has apples down most of the length, and that one that's the smallest one, so it probably just has a couple. Probably doesn't have many. I love this stuff. This is creeping time, and I got a little 6-pack from my local nursery to put between the pavers. My goal is to have all of these pavers, including those over there and those in the new section, to have this between them. It's just a nice ground cover, and then you don't have to worry about mulch, and you can walk on it and not worry too much about it. It helps suppress weeds, and it flowers this beautiful, you probably can't tell, but it's kind of a bluish purple, almost a light purple flower. It seemed like it was more blue when it first bloomed, but now it looks like it's turning kind of a purple. So it flowers in the spring, and then after that it's just green, but I love it, and I'm gonna buy more the next time I go to that nursery. Hopefully they still have some. I do have some little peppers here. Actually, I told you I put all my peppers and tomatoes in the front. So I do have some tiny peppers. Let's hope they survive. And then a bunch of tomatoes, as you can see here. Those are like all tomatoes. This whole little section going on. And then this whole section over here is all Lysianthus. And they're growing slowly. They weren't looking good. They were kind of yellowing, and but now with the extra rain and waterings, they seem to be perking up. Another tomato. More tomatoes are in here, and you can see them. You know what a tomato looks like, right? And there are even tomatoes in there. I just went along this whole swoop. This is where I had tulips. I just filled in with all the tomatoes I had, and there are a lot of tomato plants. I don't anticipate all of them will survive, and so I wanted more than enough to have a good harvest. And then here coming up are gladiolas, which are annuals here. So I plant like 10 every couple of weeks, and I just planted 10 of them about here. And then unfortunately there's some grass coming up too, but I'm not worried about that. This little area was recently dug out. I expanded this bed, but anyway, you plum. Some of it can be cut probably, but this is what the flower looks like on the bee plum when it finally opens up, and it is a filler for bouquets, and it is a beautiful filler. It lasts forever in a vase, probably like 2 weeks, and I got a ton of it. And I didn't even plant any. It's all seeds that I scattered from the ones from last year. And so they all just took. And it is really everywhere. But as the summer goes on, the spring, summer, and I cut, because I make bouquets every week. So as I cut and cut, you'll see it disappear gradually. And there's a lot of stuff in there that'll be left that are perennials. So what else over here? Astilbe, that's all white. Astilbe, those little fringy things you see that are green now, they'll turn white. I really like Astilbe, and this is kind of my moon garden, so again I try to keep it whites and greens over here. There is a lilac there that has been there since I created this little area, so this is maybe the 3rd year, and I thought it was dead because it's never really grown. This is the 1st year it's actually big enough where I can see something going on there. So, hopefully that does well. Oh, and those fluffy arbavitae, those are the ones that have that chartreusey green color. Oh, I love them. Actually, the garden from that view, that vantage point right there, oh, that is so beautiful. It's so lush out here. I got several rose bushes. At least one looks dead. I don't know what happened to it. It's been there and it produced well last year, but they're all flowering. All of the roses. Even my little white one, which was the smallest one, it grows the slowest. Even that one has one bloom on it. And I've been deadheading them a little. I have lots of hydrangeas here. In the front are these little ones. I can't think of the name of them. It's a tiny one from Proven Winners that doesn't get very big. and then behind it are these 2 big oak leaves, and they're Gatsby something, and I can't tell you which is which, but both of them have Gatsby in the name. And that one looks like it's leaning over. I don't know if an animal jumped in there or something. And then on the ends I have Pinky Winkies, which very upright stems again, so that's a good one in terms of holding itself upright. I really like that. So far my oak leaves have tended to be pretty floppy, but they're all new. This is year 2, so that may be why. Maybe the stronger stems as they go on, because they bloom on old wood, so you don't really prune those or anything. Let's see what else. There is another hydrangea in there, another PG hydrangea on the end behind that arbavitae, which I am training into a tree form. There's some more Astilbe in here, a little bit, and I think that Astilbe is pink. And let's see. This looks a lot like my feverfew. I don't know exactly what it is. I want to say yarrow, but that does not look like yarrow that I'm used to unless there's a different variety. But whatever this is, it comes back every year in feverfew. Typically, I mean, I've had a little bit of it come back, but it doesn't typically come back every year here, from what I have understood. But this thing comes back every year, and I have 2 of these, and one on this side and one on the other side that I cut back because it was just getting huge. As you can see, it gets bushy, and I cut this thing back every season to about 6 inches from the ground, and it's bushed out. My beautyberry bushes are growing slowly but surely, and they're the ones with the purple little berries on it, so I don't want to lose those. They're very unique. Foxgloves are going out. The pollinators have been loving those, so those came back from last year, so hopefully that's going to be an ongoing perennial. And then little lime I think it's called little lime hydrangeas that I'm training into a little tree form with three. I'm doing three main trunks on each one of these. You can see that. There's one on the other side. And then these little purple coral bells. I had to move one. One was dying that was next to this thing. And I don't know if it's because this thing was sapping all the nutrients or what. But it was half dead, so I dug it up and moved it over to the new side. And I don't know if it's going to make it. But the other three are doing well. I've cut back all the salvia because it flowered out. The insects were all over it. And I cut it back. I keep trimming on this. Hopefully I don't trim off all the buds, this clematis, but it just gets too bushy and it blocks the entryway here. And I need this entryway because this is the only way really to get my wheelbarrow and stuff in here without damaging things in the lawnmower. So I need to be able to use this. So I keep cutting it back, and like I said, hopefully it still will give me some blooms. So this side is a repeat with the little lime hydrangea and the coral bells and the foxgloves, and again the salvia or Russian sage or whatever it is that I have trimmed back. That stuff I grew from seed. It's done flowering, of course, with mixed in plum here or there. And as you can see, even on this cool rainy morning, oh, he disappeared. A bumblebee just climbed into there it is. You see it? Climbed into the bell on that foxglove. So this one is the only salvia type thing. I think it may be one of the white ones that's still blooming right now. And there's, I don't know if you can see. You see that? The bumblebees are still all over it. They really do like this salvia stuff. It draws them. My butterfly bush is coming along back there behind the foxgloves, but it's still pretty short. As you can see, these paprika roses are kind of blooming out. I may go through and cut those back and see if I can get a second bloom out of them. That baptisia is so pretty. Oh, it's going to be going out soon, and it'll just be a bunch of green. But I loved this vantage point when everything was at peak. This vantage point here, where you have the purple salvia, then it was the paprika of the little also easy roses, and then the bupleurum, which has purple and orange and yellow in it. So it was a nice like little color scheme thing going on. And then of course I've thrown in some of this kind of bluish green to break up things with lamb's ear, and also this artemisia. It's crowding out my little Bosnian pine, so at the end of the season I may move some of that or try to separate it if I can, break it up and move it around. Hopefully it doesn't die when I try to do that. We'll see. And then in there, again, I have a bunch more hydrangeas. There's another one in the moon rocks. This is the only Annabelle old school one I have. It's very floppy and it really has to be propped up, but the blooms are these big giant balls, like white circles instead of a panicle. So it's so unique and so pretty. I love it. And this is Crocosmia, I believe. It's a red cardinal flower that the hummingbirds love. There's always a bunch of hummingbirds whenever that stuff starts to bloom. That doesn't bloom until into the summer. But as you can see, look how that chartreuse green is in there, breaking up the regular green. Love it, love it, love it. Love this vantage point of all of this. All of this. All of that looks good. Okay, now what doesn't look good is this is another little expansion area. And whenever you see an expansion area, it's pretty much going to have grass in it because I didn't remove the grass in these little spaces where I just kind of expanded the bed. I just kind of turned it over and let it die that way, and then broke up the dirt. And so you're going to see grass popping up for the first couple of years. That's the way it goes until I eradicate all of it by weeding over time, and then it'll be fine. But for right now, I put annuals in most of these little expansion areas because that's what I had on hand. So there are some cut flower annuals in here. I do have some red hot poker that's green, but I have not seen it come up yet. So we will see. They were big bulbs. And then I found more of that little candy tuft that I love. It's not a flowering, but I have three here. And so they will get bigger and kind of spread out in the front, and they stay really short. So that is a good thing. And then over in here, there are at least two oak leaf hydrangeas, and I think they're both ruby slippers, if I'm not mistaken. And as you can see, that one has some panicles on it there, right there. And they're still pretty small. I got those in tiny pots, and this is only the second season. So they're pretty small, more salvia that has a few blooms still on it. And then there are coral bells or heuchera thrown in here as well. This yarrow, I'm waiting for that. That's starting to flower. I'm waiting for this to come into bloom so I can cut it and use it. It does dry really well, as I've said before, and I like using it in cut flower bouquets, but all of this has to come out at the end of the season because, as I told you, I'm done with yarrow in my landscape. The only yarrow I'm going to have is this. I have like 3 or 4 plants in my cut flower garden that can stay, but the rest has to go. It's invasive, at least in my yard. It spreads underground, and it starts popping up everywhere, and I've been constantly pulling it. It's a disaster. Anyway, this stuff I did not even know was going to be a perennial, but I love it. It's scabiosa, and I grew it as for a cut flower, and I just threw 1 or 2 up here. And unfortunately, the ones I put in my cut flower patch didn't didn't stick around. But this one keeps coming back, and I love it. So I want to get more of that because it is perennial and it makes a good cut flower. It looks a lot like the Orlea, but I didn't have the same problem with petals falling everywhere, so I kind of like that. And then there is in there somewhere, probably you can see it maybe from the other side, I do have a couple of variegated hydrangeas that had these beautiful, I thought of it because I saw this, and I don't know exactly what that is there, but I have 2 variegated hydrangeas that have this white outline to the green leaf, and I thought they were goners, but I a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago, noticed them somewhere in this coming up. So yeah, that's what's going on here. And then I have no idea what I'm going to plant in this area next year, but we'll figure that out next year. All right, so let me go around this other side here. And there's not much to talk about. This is the same things I pointed out. Lots of feverfew, which I use this in cut flower arrangements. It's great. It lasts a long time. It's pretty. It's a nice filler flower. So lots of that. Well, a couple of ferns in here because it does stay shaded on this side. So yeah, a couple of ferns. This is a sublime hydrangea, and it has round blooms, but they're supposed to stay green. I mean, I think it had a few blooms on it last year. I got it again. It was very small, but it's much bigger, and I think the blooms stay kind of a green color, and so I really like that. That was unique. And then it looks like some echinacea coming up over here. It must be white, I'm assuming, if I have it over here. I did have some white ones on the other side. I haven't seen those make an appearance yet. Little mini carnations. I can't think of the other name for it, but basically they're mini carnations. I just put these here because of the blue green foliage to break it up over here. Another one of my little potted arbudias, which is a little bit weighed down from all the water. But I like that one a lot too. It's more of a Christmas tree form, kind of a loose Christmas tree form, but I like that one. So let's see. What else is going on here? I do not know if that is more lilies. Could possibly be. Not sure. It has the leaf of a lily. This grassy looking stuff. But the heads look different. at least different than these lilies. So we'll see what that turns into. Okay, what's going on over here? I've been planting sunflowers, intermingling them in here in this border in successions. So there are some that are bigger. That's the first little batch that I planted. And all of these are the cutting mums that you see growing into a bushy mass. Here is a bupleurum that can be cut. This one is ready to go. And how this one got over here on this little edge, I do not know, but I'll be cutting that today or tomorrow. What else? There's some sunflowers there. Right there. Those are all sunflowers. What else? On this side. Bupleurum, lots of bupleurum. And in the bupleurum, there's still be in there. Like I said, there's another PG hydrangea in there. And my weeping redbud tree is in there. It's just short, but you can see the leaves, those heart-shaped leaves. That's it. It's just short. It was just a stick when I first got it. It didn't even have any leaves on it. And this is the snowball viburnum, which is all done. That's being trained into a tree form as well. Another random bupleurum right there on the end that can be cut because that one's ready to go. These are little salvias that I planted under here, under these trees. I got almonds and chestnuts, and a bunch of salvia in the front because the front gets least watered. So I put drought tolerant things here. There's butterfly bushes and salvias. My little maple that I moved, hopefully it does okay there. Maples do tend to grow slow in the beginning from what I've gathered, but hopefully I just wanted to survive because I would like to have one little red maple. And then the rosemary that I moved out, most of those survived. I may have had one that died, but in the back it's just more salvia. I have different colors. I got white salvia, pink, purples, and then Aurelia. There's one there and there's one on the other side. This one has always been a state. I mean, it's always grown slower than the other one. I don't know why, but 2 Aurelias, and then these are Gatsby oak leaf hydrangeas. Both of these, 2 different varieties, Gatsby Gal and Gatsby something else. I have all the Gatsbys, Gatsby Moon, Gatsby Star. More of the salvias. Another nut tree. See, here's the bigger, now I forgot the name of it. I just called it. It gets little pink flowers on it, but that one has gotten bigger. As you can see, I've removed the yarrow. That's why you see these big, nice blank spots. And little ones will probably still keep popping up that I'll have to pull, but for now, it's gone. Another butterfly bush and more salvia. Here are an apricot and nectocot tree, which has never fruited yet. But they are beautiful. I prune these quite a bit. They grow stems in every direction, literally down, backwards. It's crazy. It's like that stem is growing straight down. So I'm constantly trimming this to keep it in this goblet shape. And there's bupleurum that's just planted around it, that's shooting up through the center, which I think is kind of cute. It's kind of a nice image. Okay, keep it moving. This is getting long. Now, back to my persimmons, which I thought were goners, and now all of a sudden all this green is coming up at the bottom and moving its way up. So I do not understand these trees. They've been here, this is the 3rd year. The first 2 years they just kept getting bigger with leaves every season like a normal tree, and then this year nothing. And so I did cut a little bit off the top this year to see if it was still alive, and the tops look dead, but the bottom, when I scratched the bark, was green, so I left them, and you can see there's leaves growing out of them now. So I don't know what's happening, and I'm gonna leave them alone. This salvia, soon I'll cut that one back. There's bees on it now, but it's floppy, so it's time to cut it. There was a big yarrow there that I removed. I removed a few of the daisies too. Those Shasta daisies are another one. They're not as invasive, but here's one. They get huge. So I took 2 and moved them to the new section, and I don't know if they'll survive, but I cut them back because they were looking all wilted when I dug them up. and we'll see if they survive over there. If not, that's fine, because I grew those from seed. They're very easy to grow from seed. Shasta daisies. So is yarrow. But anyway, this is the drops of Jupiter oregano. It's an ornamental oregano that gets these pink flowers. It's beautiful. I love that color, that bright green color. So I have 2 of those. I have linked this cherry blossom tree up, and I like it this way because I can underplant, you know, or better yet, I had already underplanted. I guess you could see the things that were under it. So I can't wait till that tree blooms. It's going to be so pretty. Oh my gosh. Okay, there's the white salvias are here. There's one there and there's one there. That one I've halfway cut back because it had flopped open. Sometimes these things, when they get too big, I don't know, grow too fast, they just split right in the middle, just flop down. And so then I just cut them back and let them regrow. See what happens. Roses. Oh, look at all the buds on this rose bush. It has tons of buds all over it. And it looks like it's going to be an orange colored rose. One of my $5 roses. This one is a proven winner. I can't think of the name of it. Atlas. It's a very popular one, but it has orange blooms on it. And then this cotton candy maple. Oh, I love this tree. Look at those leaves, pinks and whites and greens. Love that thing. And there's the moon rock hydrangea. I mean, you can just see how erect those stems are. That is really a good one. Oh my gosh, the first bloom on this Duchess of Edinburgh clematis. It has attached itself to the trellis. It's not fully open, but this one gets big white blooms. The other white clematis I have on that arbor is tiny little flowers all over it, but this one gets big white blooms, and I love it. There's 2 of them on this trellis. More roses over here, little $5 roses. And then you can see the lemonade lace elderberries. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love this whole circle of green, this bright chartreusey green, and then purple, and then a little bit of orange, and then over there more purple. Love it, love it, love it. My peach trees, I don't feel so bad now. I watched one of the YouTubers that I occasionally watch, who's a huge garden YouTuber, probably one of the, if not, I don't know, if maybe the biggest one out there. But she said she lost her whole orchard of fruit this season too, for the same reason. She said in her state that it warmed up and then it froze, and so everything fell off. And that's exactly what happened here. So I don't feel so bad now, and it gives me hope that next year I'll have fruit. But I'm gonna have to trim these one more time, at least once more. But I'll probably wait till the end of June and prune to keep them fairly short. I don't want huge trees. I want them to be where I can pick the fruit from ground level. This huge thing, I don't know if this was a nepeta, Russian sage, catmint, something, one of those things like that. But as you can see, the pollinators love it because there are bees all over it. It is huge. I mean, I'm telling you, this thing from one end to the next, even though it's kind of flopping over, that's at least 5 feet, at least 5 to 6 feet wide. So again, it's hard to tell size on a video, like, you know, but that is huge. Oh, this is a rose that I love. I think this one might be Oh Sweet Rose of Mine. I'm not sure, but this is one of the $5 ones. But look at the color. Oh, I hear buzzing. That pink, I'm gonna get from over here. There are a lot of bees, and I don't want to agitate them. These are 2 more hydrangeas. I cannot think of the name. One was Invincible Lace. I can't think of the other one. But these are the ones that I told you had some weird spots. And I have been I've treated them with the copper fungicide. We'll see what happens there. Another one of the white salvias. I must have had a 3-pack. So, over here, there's also some dogwood, 9-bark. Things that I thought would be good perennials that I could use for fillers. There's hostas on the side because this is a shade side. There's another one of my $5 roses which puts out a beautiful colored bloom. There's this one's spent, but you can see the color. There's like dark pink in the center, and then it gets lighter on the outside. Love that. In the center there's an open spot. I must have dug out a yarrow or something in there, but I'm not gonna fill it in because, as you can see, I have so much stuff here, I don't really need to add anything. What else? Rose of Sharon Blue Chiffon. I just put this in last year, so it's growing though, which is good. That Zoro hydrangea is growing, and I'm happy about that. I may have to move that. Obviously, it is too close to this Rose of Sharon. I don't know why I put them so close together, but if it survives, I will probably move it to the outside, to this edge, because that Rose of Sharon is going to get tall. So I'll probably move it here. This is shade over here, so it'll be fine. I want to keep that one kind of protected. Although I do hope to have this maple tree removed next season, hopefully, which will open this up. Unfortunately, I don't know. The neighbor has 2 trees, so that'll probably still give me shade, but I don't want to turn this into a full sun area or anything, given that I planted all this shade stuff over here. So things that haven't responded well to being in the sun, I put over here, like these light colored coral bells. In general, I found that perennials with the light green coloring like sun, that's what keeps them that color, and when they don't get a lot of sun, they turn dark green, actually like regular green. But not the coral bells. They burn super easy, so they love it over here, as well as all the hostas, that little hostas that I have popping up. These are sweet spires, proven winners. They're 2 different varieties though, but they're pretty. They're still small, but they're pretty. Another one of the coral bells, the light colored ones, and a couple of little hostas. That's what's going on over here. And I still have my sky pencil hollies. It's just hard to see them in the midst of all this other stuff. Lots of euphorbia, which I've cut back. That stuff spreads pretty rapidly too, but I like it. And when it's young, it's kind of like a ground cover almost. See if you can see it in there. But if you can see it right there, when it's short, it kind of creeps across like a ground cover, and then it flowers these beautiful chartreusey green yellow flowers. So I really like that. And then this side is a line of my fruit trees. This one is finally looking good. This one, tree branches from this big maple tree have fallen on several times and broke off limbs, but this is the best it's ever looked, so I'm happy about that. My other ones up here, something was eating on the leaves, so I've been on my regimen, spray regimen, so they seem to be bouncing back, but there was a lot of little holes in the leaves, so something was eating them. But they're doing okay. No apples this year and no fruit. I don't think, other than those 3 apple trees in the front, I have no fruit this year on any of the fruit trees. This is an apple tree. This one has always done the best because it gets more sun than any of the others. But something was eating the leaves. So as you can see, you see how the old growth is all eaten up by some kind of bugs. I don't know what bugs, but I sprayed. The new growth, as you can see, is lush and beautiful, so it's okay. Now, let me go around to my new section, and then I'll wrap this up. So I'll do another quick pan. I gotta move that chicken wire. I took it off the trees because the deer seem to be gone for now. Do another little pan. So we're going now over to the other side of the driveway, which is where my new bed is, and that's where we'll end, because I know this is long. I try to do these fairly short, but I have so many different things out here, you know, that it can take a while to just cover things. There's another little Arborvitae evergreen in there that it gives me mixed signals. First year I put it there, it lost every single leaf on it, and then it flushed out when spring came. You can see it there, and even now it has a lot of new growth and it's looking lush, so I don't move it, but I don't know if maybe eventually I'll have to move it. We'll see. Okay, so here is my completed new section, which was a job for me. It was a job for me because all of this was done by hand, me removing all the grass. And after I removed all the grass, then I put down the brick border, Then I kind of mapped out, I just draw, usually I just get a notepad and draw kind of outline of kind of where I want things and go from there and tweak it as I go. So I knew I wanted a bench or an arbor or something in the center, something with a seat, where you could kind of sit and just enjoy it. And so I got this white bench that matches. It's the same vinyl stuff, plastic, as the fencing. So I said it'll match, and it works out great. I like it. And then I wanted to have a pathway in here so that I could tend to things without stepping on plants. And so I just got leftover pavers that I've had forever that were in the backyard and put them out in a circle, like a semicircle, around the bench, and then some more in the front, and that's the seating area. So, and then in the front, a lot of this is transplanted stuff that I stole from other places. These little arborvitae were in pots in the back forever since I got them 2 years ago, and I put them in the ground and they love it. They're already bigger. And then I put a lot of the Dusty Miller that I bought in this section since I had so much space to fill up. And then I cannot recall what this is same as this thing, but gold color. Let me go look at the name. The name is Leaving Me Smoke Bush. That's a Winecraft Black Smoke Bush by Proven Winners, and that is a gold smoke bush, and I can't think of the exact variety name, but it's Proven Winners too. So 2 smoke bushes on the end. This is the variegated Wachella that has pink flowers, and the pollinators love that. I had some cuttings that I rooted of my old rosemary, so I just put those out here, but I will probably dig those up to use for next year's landscape at the end of the season, because they will die here if I leave them in the ground. These are some tiny salvias that I got from the big box store. It was like a 4-pack, and so I put those here, but they stay short, and so I put them in the front. They're purple. And then, as you can see, this is where I relocated 2 of the Shasta daisies. I cut them all the way back because they had the leaves were just gone, and I think they'll do fine. I mean, Shasta daisies, you can put them through so much and they come back. I mean, look at this one. It already is pushing new leaves, and I just transplanted it like a week ago, or 2 weeks at the most. And then I have little starts in here. You can barely see them because they're so tiny, but I started a bunch of different things from seeds, and they're in here. Foxgloves. This is a lot of foxgloves. I tried to start whatever I had that was perennial seeds, and then a bunch of annuals too, just because I needed to fill in space. This is a lavender that I took from the back. Hopefully it survives. It was, I think, a sensational lavender, which is the only one that has grown really well for me, so I really want it to survive. This, I'm so happy about this. I got my redbud tree. If you guys watched that garden tour video, this one's called Vanilla Twist. You know that there was a redbud tree that I saw at the garden center that I loved, but it was like $300. And I wasn't going to spend $300 for this little tree. So I went online. The closest thing I could find was this Vanilla Twist. So it is a redbud that doesn't get very tall. I think 10 feet was the max, it said. And then it has white flowers, and that's what drew me. That's what I was looking for, one that bloomed white flowers, because I thought that would be unique. The other one I have on the other side is purple flowers, so, you know. And then here, this was always here, my alternating line of arborvitae and limelight prime hydrangeas, which, you know, those limelight primes will get like 5 feet tall. These little arborvitae, I can't think of the variety, but they're supposed to be a pyramidal shape, kind of like a Christmas tree. Now, around the outside of this pathway, you can barely see them, but those are rose bushes. I can zoom in a little bit. See that? Okay, so those are bare root roses that I got from the same place, Jackson and Perkins, or Perkins and Jackson, and I keep always confusing the two. But I got them from there, the same place I got all the other $5 roses, but these were not $5, these were $15 or $20 a piece. And I have a series of them. I think there's 7 or 8 going around here, and they're all white or a blush colored rose. Matter of fact, I think all of the inner ones are white and just the two on the ends are blush colored pink. So I'm trying to do an English garden theme over here with, pastel colors, pinks, purples, blues. I also have gotten more of the sensational lavender. I believe that's the sensational lavender. So I got a 4-pack of those, and those are there. Inside of there, these are little starts that I've planted. Probably annuals because that's what I had. And then throughout here, in between the roses, are little bitty starts of annuals and maybe some perennials. I did put more of my pepper plants. More pepper plants. Those are jalapenos. Are over here. And let's see. And then these little boxwoods, again, I had in the backyard in pots. I bought those up here. And that's a rose bush. These two, this one and this one, are proven winners, flavorette. Now, I told you about the apricot flavored one I had. These are called peared. So they're supposed to have like a pear-like flavor. So they're supposed to have more of a pear flavor, these two new ones I got. So we'll see. I did taste the other one, the petals, and sure enough, it does taste more like fruit than like floral, like a rose, like flower. If you've ever eaten rose petals, I have. So it did taste more like fruit. It was more of a sweet, just fruity, not subtle, not too strong taste. So I'm gonna enjoy using those in cooking and decorating desserts. I have pockets here that have gladiolas. I think one pocket actually has lilies, which will be a perennial, but the gladiolas are annual. So again, I succession planted those, so I staggered them. There's another arborvitae that is supposed to stay this chartreusey green color here, which is nice to break up all this green. I got zinnias in here. Those are annuals, of course. And what else? Well, we got one pocket of the gladiolas coming up there. And that's the apricot, honey apricot flavored rose. And then the other one is right there. And another pocket of glads coming up. Another pocket of glads coming up. And this is all the dying foliage for my daffodils that I'm not cutting back yet until it is all brown. And then in there, of course, I have a bunch of annuals, which I pointed out before. So in there's a bunch of stock. And what else? Stock and status, I believe. Some maybe verbena. There are a couple of perennials in there, a couple of astilbes. This beautiful viburnum. It's very tiny now still, but it did put out some blooms. Beautiful white blooms. I cannot wait. That thing's going to be big though. That gets like 6 feet tall. So that's like the centerpiece here, and all around it will be daffodils. And then in the fall, I'm getting more daffodils that are coming, and I'm going to put those where all the annuals are. And then back here are just the arborvitae without the limelight primes. So there's just a little swoop of them in this crescent, about five of them here. Yeah, and then I moved one of those artemisias over here last season, and it is doing well now. When they put in the fence, they trampled it. I thought it was going to be a goner, but it still came back. And then here's the other gold smoke bush. I can tell you the name because this one, it still has the tag. Winecraft Gold. So that's going to get pretty big, that smoke bush. And then I just have one peony here, a pink one. And then more peppers. More pepper starts that I had. And they're actually growing. So maybe I'll get some peppers off of those too. Those are hot peppers. I couldn't tell you what kind. There may be some bell peppers in there too, but I just planted up a bunch of different varieties of pepper seeds that I had. I had hot ones, I had bell peppers, poblanos, cubanos, whatever I had. And I just sprinkled them throughout. So that's my new section, and I am not planting anything else over here unless I find something that I just, oh my gosh, have never seen or is so special. But outside of that, I have two little pockets that will be annuals every year. So like where the glads are coming up, I can put annuals. This little patch, which is now zinnias, I can put annuals there. And then I have another patch on the other side of the bench where I can put annuals. Um, just like for overflow and just for color, added color. This is all that's left of the mulch, and that's going in the back to be used. Yeah, that was a mountain of mulch. It was like 8 cubic yards. And then I see them. It did get trampled a bit with the mulch because it was dumped on it. But I've rescued most of it, as you can see. I had to move this out a little bit. It wasn't doing that well behind this crazy bush, smoke, well, burning bush, whatever I call it. So I just moved it over here for now. But I wanted it right under that light because the other one is under the other light. But it's doing okay there. So yeah, that is the complete tour of the front garden. And I probably won't do another front garden tour until garbage cans are there for now. They're usually on the side, but I gotta get that mulch out of the way first. I probably won't do another front garden tour until the end of June. Yeah, so we'll see how different it looks then. I'm sure it will look very different because by then all those lilies will be blooming. The astilbe should be in full color. The hydrangeas should be showing more color on its blooms. So yeah, that is what will happen. So my next tour will be probably a backyard tour, maybe in a week or so, and then we'll come back out here I think end of June and see what's going on. But it's beautiful. I love it. It's well beyond what I anticipated when I first started planting stuff up here. I had just this section, a little strip here. It wasn't even this whole thing, and it was already here when I got the house. And I was just gonna put a few bulbs there and call it a day, because I was into growing food back then. I was not into growing any landscape or flowers. I didn't see a point in growing anything I couldn't eat, really. And then I discovered cut flowers, and from there it turned into all of this, and I love it. It is beautiful. The only thing I have left to do is to get my little lawn robot up and running. I do have a robot mower for the front, and I couldn't set it up until I finished all my new beds and outlining everything. And now that I'm done, I can actually get that set up. So fingers crossed I can figure out how to do that, and do that in June. So at least I'll get a couple of months of use out of it this season. But yeah, it's just gonna do this side of the front, is my goal, so that's less I have to worry about, because this is a lot of maintenance. This plus the backyard, oh my gosh, it's just constant work, like in the season. And I mean, I love gardening, but we're talking hours a day. So I'm trying to automate some things because physically I can only do so much. My son cuts the grass now, but he's only going to be here for another year. He's 17. So when he's gone, I'm like, oh no, I can't cut the grass too. So I can cut the back. I think I can manage that. And I don't want any robots back there because my dogs use the backyard. But up here, if I can get that automated, that would just save me so much time and energy. So that is all I have for today. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you all have a wonderful June. Bye-bye.